everyone, it's Gods Enchantments here and welcome to Thursday's Wisdom from the Cauldron. So firstly, an apology that there was not a video last week. I got rather unwell, so was unable to film one the start of the week when I usually do it. And then by the end, when I was back on my feet, I had so many of your orders to get out to you. As I do not do any work on magical items, tools, even packing orders if I'm under the weather, because I feel that your energy has to be in the correct space to work with those tools, and you don't want to imprint anything that's a lower vibration. So I was a bit behind and had to get on the work side of things. So today's video, you're hopefully going to enjoy, is about trademarked crystals. Since I started this series, I've had a lot of private messages and emails of people asking me to talk about specific things. So if you have a suggestion you'd like to hear me talk about, then do comment down below or pop me over a message on Facebook in the group and I will pop it on the list. So yes, we're going to talk about what trademark crystals are and also my opinion, because many of you want to know if I work with them, how do I feel about them, so that's going to be in there as well. It's worth saying you may agree with me or you may not agree with me. There's no wrong or right here because we're each unique and we each have our own viewpoints. So if you want to discuss trademark crystals down in the comments, please do. But keep it respectful because I don't want to have to delete comments, and I do not allow bullying or anything like that on this channel. You'll have to excuse the fan if you can hear it. It's roasting in the UK and I would not be able to talk if I turned that off because it's sweltering in this room right now. So first of all, what are trademarked crystals? Okay, trademark crystals are basically when a person comes along and they buy up a huge quantity of a specific crystal. Now, this could be generally or most likely crystal from a mine in a specific area or group of mines in a specific area. The person comes along, buys up kilograms and kilograms of the crystal, and then trademarks that crystal with a unique, maybe magical sounding, maybe even strange sounding name. Now, once they have the trademark, they then have the permission to sell the crystal that they have, not everything that comes out of that mine. They do not own the mine in the majority of cases, because that would be insanely expensive. So they own the crystal they bought from the mine. The rest of the crystal that's in the mine is still exactly the same crystal. There's no difference at all. But the stuff they own that they have purchased, they have the right to sell under the name that they have trademarked. Now, these trademark crystals will usually come with a certificate that's about the size of a business card. It often has an image of the crystal's name. If the crystal has a story attached, something to do with that will be on there, and then who owns the trademark of that crystal and any other little addresses or details. The certificate, lost my train of thought there, the certificate that you get with the crystal does not guarantee the mineral makeup of your stone. Your stone has not been sent to a geologist to check the minerals inside. So some of these stones you'll find that have been trademarked are quartz with maybe 5 or 6 other inclusions of different minerals. There's no guarantee you are getting a piece with those minerals in. You are just getting a piece that came out of that mine and that the person has purchased, can use the trademark for, and can give you a certificate for. Okay? So that's what a trademark crystal is. Most important point to remember, in 99% of the cases, they don't own the mine itself. So it's just a crystal they have purchased that is being sold under the trademark name. But the exact crystal is still coming out of that mine to other suppliers through other miners. But they cannot use the name. Okay? So that's what a trademark is. Now let's go over some of the trademark names and what those crystals are, because you may actually have some trademark crystals already in your collection, and you may be surprised to hear what some of these very fancy sounding crystals actually are. So one of the most well known, I think, among trademark crystals is azeztulite. Now that sounds very fancy. We can't get away from it. That's quite fancy sounding, but that actually is quartz, and it's not a clear quartz. It's a milky kind of quartz. It's not particularly pretty or outstanding. Before it was trademarked, it was, quartz. So it's quartz from specifically Vermont or North Carolina in the USA, and that's where it's mined. So any quartz, that's this milky kind of quartz that is mined from Vermont, North Carolina in the US, is technically azeztulite, but what is sold as azeztulite is only the bulk of the crystal that has been purchased by the trademark owner. We then move on to many different types of azeztulite. Azeztulite has kind of blown up. Now we have pink fire azeztulite, which is quartz with hematite streaks mined on an African coastal island. So nothing, different there. You can get quartz with hematite from many places, including this coastal island. We have black azeztulite, which is quartz with black calcite mined in Vermont. We have some Himalayan azeztulites, and we have Himalayan gold azeztulite, Himalayan red azeztulite, and Himalayan gold red azeztulite, which really only speaks to the colour of the stone. So you can get a kind of golden quartz, a red quartz, or a golden red quartz. It's simply inclusions within the quartz, but from the Himalayan mountains. So that's azeztulite. Then we have things like creation stone agate, which is agate nodules from so many agates there. Agate nodules from Agate Creek in Australia. We have cinnazes, which is cinnabar in quartz from New Zealand. We have celestial angel calcite, which is calcite from the desert within southwestern USA. So as you're hearing, they have some very fabulous names, but if we actually come down to the mineral themselves, the minerals are nothing special, and the majority of the time nothing particularly rare. Now there are many, many more. We do not have time in a 20-minute video to go through the literally, whole list of them. But it's worth looking into. You can get these lists online. There are websites where you can compare the trademark name to the geological name to the most common names, so you can check what you have and what you don't have. Another thing that has really been trademarked the hell out of is Lemurian. Now we started off with Lemurian quartz, which has got the lines on and is connected to wisdom from the Lemurian civilization. We also have Lemurian aquatine calcite, which is blue-green calcite from Argentina. What makes it Lemurian? We have Lemurian gold azeztulite, so we're combining the two, which is quartz-based stone from a volcanic region of New Zealand. We have Lemurian indigo calcite, deep blue calcite from Argentina. Lemurian gold opal, yellow gold opal from the island of the Indian Ocean. It kind of goes on. So again, there's a lot there. Now, some of these stones also have stories attached to them. A good example of that is azeztulite. Now, you have to decide, firstly, do you trust the main source of this story. So that's something you have to research for yourself. Do you trust this person? Do you think they're legit? Do you think their experience is legit? And then secondly, you have to ask yourself, okay, so they, I feel, had a legit experience, if that's what you feel, but do you think you're going to have that experience just because they did? Not everyone who buys trademark crystals gets the supposed effects, if you like, stated on the certificate or on the websites of those who own them. So the azeztulite, it is said by Robert Simmons and a lady whose name completely eludes me at this time, that these crystals, this quartz crystal from Vermont and North Carolina, has been blessed by the Azez people. Now, the Azez people are an alien race who started working with this lady and Robert Simmons and turned around and said, we, because it's a civilization, we are here to work with the human race, with mankind, and we are going to bless this specific type of crystal, and then we want you to distribute it out to people around the world. And you can go onto YouTube, you can go onto his website, books and things, and get the entire full story of this from beginning to end. I think there's like an hour video where he talks about this. And that's the story behind that. And you'll find that stories similar to this of people's personal experience or things they've been told by different races come along with some of these trademarked crystals. Which brings me on to marketing and the effects on the crystal market that this kind of marketing has. So let's start with marketing as a whole. Obviously, if you can take a crystal that is an everyday, not rare crystal, quartz, unless it's a really, really special type of quartz, quartz is not rare. Calcite is not rare. Many of these stones, jaspers, for example, not rare. But if you can suddenly take them, give them a fancy name, give someone a little certificate with it that says it's authentic to that name, which only means the person bought it in bulk and then gave it a name and possibly a story, suddenly the price is going up and up and up, way past what you would normally pay for a deep blue piece of calcite or a not so pretty piece of quartz. So in marketing, this is very effective on people, particularly those new to crystals that don't know what trademarking is, that think they're getting some kind of unique, special or rare crystal, which is often not the case. Now, the other thing with marketing here is you have to look at the ethics with the whole story and the marketing. Something I would say about the ethics of marketing when it comes to azeztulite, to my mind, and this is my opinion, you can agree or disagree, if an alien race came to me and said, okay, we are here, we want to help mankind, we are going to bless these specific crystals and we want you to distribute them throughout the world, okay, throughout mankind, through people that we can then work through, help, enlighten, raise their vibration, etc., etc. To my mind, at what point did the alien marketing team come down and say, right, yeah, so to market this, you want to make sure that you trademark it, rack up the price tremendously, so only people that can afford it can get their hands on it and work with our energy. This is where I kind of think we're going into unethical territory and we're coming into human greed and gain of, I have a story, I have something special to sell, and I can make sure that I make money from it. Now, the effects of such marketing on the crystal market as a whole obviously racks the price up on these specific crystals. I know many people who own crystal shops. I myself sell crystals. I know many miners and distributors. I'm very lucky at this point with the business going for 11 years that I know a lot of people in the crystal business. And many will not stock trademarked crystals because even to them at a wholesale price, it's an insane price for what they know is a common mineral and what they know they cannot guarantee their customer any kind of special experience with. They then have to pass it on at such a high price compared to the crystal without the certificate that it's costly to them, it's costly to their customers, and they just won't do it. Around me, there's only one shop that deals in trademark crystals. All the other crystal shops just won't do it. So it does have an effect on the market overall. But what it also has an effect on is our small scale private miners, which are people I personally really like to work with. And these are independent miners that will travel around their country. Sometimes they cross country depending on, you know, who they are and what their plan is. For instance, I know one that works specifically in the US, travels all around the US. They pay to go into these mines, mine whatever they can in anywhere from a day to 2 weeks, and then they pass that on. Now, the problem with trademarking is they can still go to these mines and pay to mine there. But when they bring out their quartz from the ground, they can only sell it as milky quartz from North Carolina. They cannot say at any point, this is a zeztulite. So unless you are an educated buyer, you're not going to know they're the same crystal. The Azez people said they were blessing all the quartz from those mines. So all the quartz is zeztulite in those mines, but they cannot sell it as that. So they have to sell a crystal that's not particularly attractive, that's not rare, for a lower price, while someone else is getting a huge boost from that crystal. So it really is quite unfair. If you actually have a look about trademark crystals in New Zealand, which I can't go into here because we don't have time, the people of New Zealand are very unhappy about the amount of trademarks there are in their country and how that's affecting independent miners and businesses in that country. So you can look into that if that's something you find interesting. So it does affect the market. It does affect our small independent miners, which is who we want. They are the ones mining by hand. They are the ones mining ethically. They are the people that we want to, I particularly, when I source crystals for the shop, want to know exactly what mine they've come out of. I don't want them to have changed hands 50 times, going through different vendors and different wholesalers until eventually I go somewhere and get them. I want to know who has touched them, and I want the least amount of people to have touched them before I get them to you, basically. And this has an effect on that. And then lastly, the ethics of trademarking as a whole. Is it ethical for human beings to trademark and claim ownership over something that is made by Gaia, that is made in the earth, that will outlive us all? Because these crystals will still be here when we're not here any longer, as morbid as that may sound. What right do we have to trademark them, give them some fancy name, and then put an insane price tag on them for our own personal profit? That does not sit well with me. So that's really, me personally, I don't work with trademark crystals. If I want a crystal that has been trademarked, I will get the non-trademarked version from a good source who I know has been to those specific mines and get it. And I must say I have a few, and I've worked with them, and a couple have stories, and they're nothing special. If I had a similar piece of quartz from a different place or a similar piece of calcite from a different place, muddled them up, I wouldn't know which was which. And that's my experience with them. But I have had many, many profound experiences during journey working with crystals. So it's not a case that I have not had experiences before. I have had very profound experiences. If you've watched any of my videos, if you're in the Facebook group, you know how closely I work with crystals. And I don't think all of these stories are necessarily truthful or necessarily something that is going to be a shared experience with everyone. So that's it from me. It's a basic overview. If you do want more information about this topic and you'd like me to do a longer video, then do feel free to comment or message me and let me know. Remember, keep the comments nice down below. Look out for the giveaway video that's coming because we have gone over the 2,000 subscribers. If you've not subscribed, please do give this video a thumbs up. If you want to see when my new videos come up, you now have to click the bell and you have to click the little arrow next to it and select all. Otherwise, you will only see the odd video when it gets released new. It's like a new YouTube thing. Don't get me started, that's a video in itself. So that's, I think, all the details. Do come over and join the closed Facebook group if you haven't already. People have been sharing some beautiful altar photos and experiences. It's a really safe place, closed group. That's it from me. Have a wonderful day. Blessed be.